Hooday, Bengal fans. He is Mon, Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. We have got Bengals talk today. Joe Burrow took the mic stand. We got some more Trey Hendrickson news. We got some Bengals Canada news. The Bengals have entered the hockey realm of partnering up with Canada. And then we're going to talk a little bit of Ring of Honor tonight. Who is worthy? I'm going to tell you who I voted for already. I'll tell you tonight, but we're going to talk about who is worthy and who is not. So we have a packed show. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We love you. We appreciate you. Hooday to everybody out there. Before we get started, guys, it's hot down here. I'm going to tell you right now in Florida, we have unnatural heat. It's been between 96 and 98 the last couple days. Mon, are you staying hydrated?
I am. Right. It has been hot. I went on a 5-mile walk today. I thought I was going to die afterwards. Had to take some liquid IVs. It is brutal. You're right. I don't know how it would be on the football field for you guys. It has to be tough. It's funny. This, time is flying by. Next thing you know, it's going to be middle of July, and we're going to have training camp in August, and time's flying. And there's a lot of Bengal news today, and let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Eric, how you doing? I know you had a long day today out in that heat. How you feeling, bud?
I'm here. What is it? I'm just here so I don't get fined. Let's say that. Spent 8 hours in the 97-degree heat walking through Legoland with a bunch of fifth graders, and I got the group this year that wasn't afraid of roller coasters. So I think we went on about 22, 23 different times around, and takes a lot out of you. So I'm here. I haven't passed out yet. I'm ready to talk some Bengals news.
Yeah, and Mon is very bad about finding people. He's very bad about that. Very bad.
The one time I cursed, that was like $100 out of my stipend. What the hell?
Dolores, Hooday, and please send some of that weather our way, because it is in the 90s right now and it's 8 o'clock. And what you were saying, Mon, about football, we actually, we have to follow the heat index rule. So today we had to cut practice short. We had to come inside, and it's nasty. I'm telling you, it's nasty right now. And again, we usually see this weather, in the summertime, mid-summertime, but right now, it's a little crazy that we're in May and we're getting this. But again, hooday to everybody out there. Eric, let's go ahead and start this bad boy.
Yeah, there's so much Bengals news. We have a show outlined, and then I even have news that just popped into my head that I forgot about. We did have a defensive tackle visit yesterday and left without a deal. Everybody was really excited watching some film. Left without a deal. No news on that, so we'll stay tuned on that. One of the big things that came out here, we've gone back and forth on our group chat over and over and over about the Trey Hendrickson deal. We got to finally hear Joe Burrow talk about it today, and he didn't give a lot, but the one quote that really stuck out, and I'll get you guys to talk about a little bit, is that Joe Burrow said he's a guy that deserves to get paid and to get paid what he wants and what the market is. But let's kind of talk this one last time before it really happens. Thoughts on what Joe Burrow said. Obviously, I think we believe that he's right, but is it going to move the needle at all? Mon, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I'm glad Joe said that, because I agree with Joe. I don't think it's going to move the needle much. I think the Bengals are dug in. The $28 million is a nice number compared to what he was going to get, but we don't know how it's structured. We have no idea if it's heavy incentives. So we don't know. All we know is what he said on McAfee's show the first time he was on. He said he wasn't happy with the incentive structure because it was team-based, AFC Championship, Super Bowl appearances. He would get a lot of that money. I get it. It should be performance-based, even if they have incentives in there. I don't know. I just hope it doesn't get into training camp, and I hope it doesn't get ugly. It's sort of gotten ugly on Twitter with some of the Bengal fans. $28 million they think is fair, and it is what it is. People criticizing his rush D and all that. And if you actually look at the numbers, PFF, the top three, his run defense is lower. It's not that much lower though. We're not talking a massive drop in production. His rush stats are above average to average compared to Crosby and Garrett, but his pass rush win rate is through the roof, and that's and we know that with his production. The Bengals are a better team. I tweeted something yesterday. I'm sorry to ramble here. Professional teams, elite NFL teams that are trying to get a Lombardi trophy need players. They need closers like Trey Hendrickson, first team All Pros. Look at the Rams. They went out and got one the year they won the Super Bowl. They got Von Miller. All these teams are making moves at the deadline to put them over the hump. So what are the Bengals doing? What are some Bengal fans wanting? Hey, let's trade the guy. That doesn't make the Cincinnati Bengals a better team. We need to stop as fans being conditioned to think like the Bengals. Oh man, they don't have this. We did that with Jesse Bates. We had fans doing this even with T. Higgins. I'll go out and say it. T. Higgins wouldn't be a Bengal today if it wasn't for that press conference at the end of the season with Joe Burrow. The Bengals have the money. They're just really, they have an approach. I'll use it. They're frugal. They're ultra conservative to a fault. And I think, get Trey signed. You can put outs in the contract if he falls off a cliff. Hey, you can get out. They can do it. They can be creative with these contracts, but it's up to them. I hope they get it solved soon.
What's curious to me, Mon, is it the 28 million or is it maybe the years on the contract, right? Because to me, I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those in that club where I'm looking at, 28 million is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And again, I know it's not top of the league. It's not anywhere near those other guys. 28 million though is a good jump. I think it's fair. I would like to see it more around 30, but I think 28 is fair enough to where you could say we are close. And it doesn't sound like they are close. And I don't know if that's because of the money or because of the years. And I think that's what I would really like to know. And I know we probably won't know because the 28 million thing just came out this week. And that obviously was something that was done weeks and weeks ago. So I think it would be interesting to find out where exactly the trench is, right? Is the trench starting with I don't have personal incentive over team incentive? Is it I'm looking for more than 28 million a year if that's what was offered, or I'm looking for a structured contract that gives me multiple years, maybe let's say the Bengals only offer him a 1-year extension for 28 million. Obviously, if that's the case, then it's not fair. I don't think that's a fair deal, So I do think it's very interesting here. I would love to know where exactly the trench starts, where that gap starts between the Bengals and Trey, and how close they really are. I don't know. It sounds like, yes, Jennifer, it does sound like the Bengals are pushing for a short-term deal, which I really feel like that's the gap. I don't think 28 million is far off money-wise from what you should be paying this guy. I know
it doesn't even put him in the top 10.
No. I'm not. I'm saying it's not far off. I'm not saying 28 million is the number. I'm saying It's not far off. I just said I feel like it should be closer to the 30 range, but it's not far off money as far as I'm concerned. Now Trey might feel differently, but I do think it is. It's got to do with those years, right? Because Trey has talked about how badly he wants these years, like guaranteed years. I want years. And if that's the case, Mon, if it is a year thing, then I'm gonna be with you on this and say the Bengals need to suck it up. Trey deserves a 3-year deal.
They could do a 3-year deal. Give him a 3-year deal with an easy out in year 3. It's easy. It's a win-win for the Bengals. Give him
Yeah,
some guaranteed money in year 2. Give him a little bit of guaranteed money in year 2. If he has 17 sacks in year 2, guess what the Bengals are going to do? Hey, that 3rd year that we gave you, we honor it. You're on our team.
yeah.
But guess what? If he only has 5 sacks and he struggles, hey man, enjoy that $3 million bonus, and we'll eat a little bit in year 3, dead cap. I mean, there's ways to structure it. I'm telling you, I don't think that 28 million. You know how they say Trey's agents leaking things out. I think Rapine and all these guys got this from Bengal people. 28 million. Yeah, it's a real number. Probably 15-20% of it is incentives. And I totally understand him not wanting to do that. Just one question to all the people that bash him about his rushing defense and all this. Are the Bengals closer to a Super Bowl if they trade him, or are they further away?
Oh, they're further
Are
away.
the Bengals a legitimate there's a booking site, like a gambling, algorithm thing on Twitter I saw. They had the Bengals as number 5 in potential Super Bowl championship. They had them at 10.4 wins, 8% chance of winning the Super Bowl. The highest was like a 12% chance. So the Bengals are in the top 5. Our Bengals are there, guys. They're there. You don't just wish away and downplay Trey Hendrickson. Man, you know what? There is an element of this fan base that really go after our star players, and it makes me sick, man. It really, and it's not just a Trey thing. I mean, they turned on T. They turned on Jesse Bates. They turned on Whitworth. I hate to say it, Whitworth got the last
Joe
laugh.
Mixon.
Yeah,
Joe
Joe
Mixon.
Mixon. Joe Mixon. They turned on. Whitworth got the last laugh. People were saying, "Screw, man, he turned $10 million down from the Bengals." Yeah, he turned $10 million down because he got 14 from the Rams.
Yeah.
And guess what? He played 6 more years. I mean, listen, I know it is frustrating. I think there's a way to fix it. Do the Bengals have some concerns? What if we have a Carlos Dunlap situation? What if we have a Geno Atkins? I totally get it, but they could fix this contract to where it helps the team and it helps us get our ultimate goal is to win a championship.
And I think everybody's tired of talking about it too, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you could tell Joe Burrow was like, I don't want to talk about this crap. You know what I mean? Like you could tell it does that. Those kind of things weigh heavy on teammates. We saw it last year with Jamar and T. They were going through all that crap. It spills into the locker room. It becomes it creates a stressful environment. And and now we're seeing it with Shamar Stewart, right? Our first round pick still has not signed because the Bengals. I'm guessing what we're hearing is that they have changed the language of a first round picks contract. It obviously says something different than what it said for Amarius Mims' contract from last year. And I think even Miles Murphy, I think it's different than Miles Murphy's too. So we're seeing Shamar Stewart now sitting out and not having any on the field work because of contract issues as well. It's just some of this
Definitely going to sign. He's definitely going to sign, but it's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary thing.
Unnecessary.
It's so unnecessary, and it's just that it just continually it feeds that narrative. The Bengals are cheap. Bengals aren't serious. That's what I hate. I'm sick and tired of the narrative. But guess what? The Bengals, instead of throwing water on that narrative, they throw gas on it.
Yeah.
I mean, this little ridiculous. I mean, it is so unnecessary. Just get the guy in, guys. Come on. It's a slotted thing.
And that's the BS about it is they're nitpicking over when the guy gets his guarantee money. And they're not nitpicking over does he get it now versus next year. We're talking, does the guy get his money the second day of training camp or does he get it 1 month later? What the hell does it matter, Cincinnati? That's not that much money to you. This isn't Joe Burrow's bonus. This is $100,000 or $200,000, and you're paying it 1 month later. I mean, are you living paycheck to paycheck that much that you got to defer his bonus 1 month. Just the NFL can fix this, but maybe they want to play into the drama. They've got these contracts. They're locked in stone. This is what you get. But then they allow the teams to negotiate and have wiggle room on different things. Just get that out of there. Put the contracts. This is what they're going to be. This is what rookies get. You sign it. You move on. Don't give the teams any room to do this stupid stuff. I have a question for you guys, and I wonder if this is what's next, because we hear 28 million, we hear this or that, but we heard early on that Trey Hendrickson was talking about he wants bonuses that he can go out and get, not necessarily the team can go out and get. And I kind of liken this to Jake. Jake's you're the head football coach, you're the strength and conditioning teacher, but it's kind of like they're gonna pay you $28 million, Jake, but you're gonna get 21 of that unless the school gets a 3.5 GPA. You have no control over that, or you have limited control over that. All your kids can ace your strength class, but you can't control the rest of what goes on. And I feel like that's what's going on here. The Bengals are saying, oh, we offered him $28 million, but maybe $7 million of that is the Bengals win a Super Bowl. The Bengals win the division. The Bengals get to the playoffs. There could be a lot of that in there that really just he doesn't have control over, and that's where he's being frustrated about. So let me ask you guys, is the next thing that's going to happen is we get details from Trey's side that this is what the Bengals offered and this is how they structured it, because it could get nasty. You're muted, Mon. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. He already said that on the McAfee show. He said the way the incentives, it's team-based incentives, and that's a hiccup. Could you imagine, hypothetically speaking, if Jamar Chase and T. Higgins had a $3 million incentive on their contracts last year, and Joe had a $5 million incentive to go to the playoffs, go to the AFC Championship game? Guess what? They would have lost that money. But did they deserve to lose that money? Look at the stats they put up. It's not fair. It's not fair to the player. I know it's a team sport, but when you got guys that are given their absolute all, could you imagine Trey Hendrickson, playoff appearance, he gets another $1 million in his contract, and he gets 17 and a half sacks, and they don't make the playoffs? It's just I just don't agree with it.
Which is a realistic thing, right? We saw it this year. I mean, we're not. I don't think we're talking out of the realm of a possibility. The Bengals had an incredible offensive year this last year, and Trey had an incredible. You could truly say Trey was the defensive player of the year, and they didn't make the playoffs. So I guess what I'm saying is, Mon, I'm agreeing with you. It's not out of the realm of a possibility that this team underperforms and Trey Hendrickson overperforms, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. Again, all we're going on is what Trey had said, and of course, Trey has an agenda. He does have an agenda. He wants to get more money out of the Bengals. It's just frustrating, but you know what? Guys, we are in a championship window. That window is probably going to get bigger and bigger with better player acquisition, better drafting, but it's open now, and Trey is still producing. I was looking at his stats on PFF. He's gotten better every year. He's gotten a lot better every year. If that trend continues, give him a 3-year contract with an easy out in year 3. And man, guess what? The Bengals might love that. Hey, year 2 gave us 16 sacks. Honor that year 3. That'd be a home run for them. And I don't know. I think you're right, Jake. I think that number has to start with a 3. 30 million.
Yeah.
With incentives, make it happen. Let's get to the next subject. I know you want to watch your basketball game, Eric.
No worries. Yeah. So next subject, Bengals today were finally announced as an international partner, teaming up with Canada. So we get, some would say the leftovers. We get the North American international partner. So it should have happened a long time ago, and Mon's got thoughts on it. So we're going to go to Mon first. Bengals are going to go Houday up north in Canada. Maybe we get a game up in Toronto or Montreal or Saskatchewan.
Hey, Edmonton. Edmonton. Mon, we could have a Bengals Oilers.
Wait, is that Edmonton? Is that why you like that?
That's so fun. Hey, you know what? There's some Edmonton Oiler fans that interact with me on Twitter. They're Bengal fans also, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they finally did it. A lot of they're one of the last few NFL franchises that have this international marketing plan contract signed. I'm glad it's with Canada. Football is big in Canada. I watch Canadian football. I actually enjoy it. So I mean, I'm glad that they'll get to go in there and market. I think 5 other teams have the Canadian market. I'd love to get that flag. Good for them. Amen. Good for them. It could help out with some revenue. I wish they would have maybe done this a couple years ago with the UK, because the Bengals have a big following in the UK. We know that. Paul Hiron's Bengals UK, they do such a great job. Maybe in the future they could potentially market in Europe.
Hey, and listen, let me tell you, when my wife drags me to Epcot for food and wine, my favorite place to go, Canada. So
Hey,
there we
you
go. There we
betcha.
go. Good potato soup, good steaks. I'm all for this.
You know what, Jake? I just got to let you know something. I have never eaten at that steakhouse at Epcot. There's like a 6-month wait
It's good.
reservation wise.
It's
I
very
mean,
good.
it's months. I mean, it
They
must
do.
be
Well,
amazing.
They do.
you need to
They do
go
what I
with
call
Jake's
fancy
wife,
stuff.
apparently.
Is it Ruby's quality? Is it Ruby's quality?
No, it's not Ruby's quality. No,
Okay.
it's not Jeff Ruby's quality. But I will tell you this: they serve what I call fancy salad. You know, like when they actually like put the whole thing of lettuce on the plate and just dump crap all over it. I call that
Wedge.
fancy.
It's called a wedge salad. That's
Yeah.
a wedge salad.
Fancy
They-
salad. Wait,
they
do you
do
tell them?
fancy-
Do you
they
tell
do
them that
fancy salad.
did you tell them that the lettuce isn't crispy enough, or they got to put the lettuce on the side?
No, I just get extra dressing. I tell them extra dressing on my fancy salad. They look
He's like,
they,
damn it,
they're
this
not
isn't
very
romaine.
happy. Well, they're
I
not
asked
very
for
happy.
romaine. This is iceberg. That's what Jake's gonna be doing, eating the salad.
One time
In
I
West
was
Virginia,
there,
fancy
one time I
salads
was
called
there and
full
asked
salad.
I asked for extra dressing on my fancy salad, and the waiter was like, "This is not Outback," and I was like, "Oh, this is big time. This is big time. This is big fancy salad time." It makes my wife, it embarrasses her, so I do it. It's fun.
All right, next subject. This is killing me.
All right, let's get here.
Fancy
Get to-
salad.
Fancy salad. That's the hot take. Jake and his fancy salad. Get the
Yeah.
Catalina out and let's roll. So what we all came here for, kind of out of nowhere. I guess we should have been expecting it, but the Bengals dropped the nominees for Ring of Honor for voting for this year, and they have not added anybody new to the list. I believe the qualifications still, you have to be 5 years post retired, and I don't think we've had anybody really significant retire and join that group. I think Geno Atkins is coming up soon. He'd probably be one of the first ones. But our finalists or our choices, I'll throw them up on the screen here, are just what we had last year, minus the guys that got elected. We're talking Jim Breach, James Brooks, Chris Collinsworth, David Fulcher, Dave Lapham, Max Montoya, Reggie Williams, Bob Trumpy, and Lamar Parrish. So we're gonna talk about this a little bit. Maybe we can whittle it to the top 5, and then talk about who should be in there and who Jake and I are going to vote for. Mon, why don't you give us your thoughts first on this list and go wherever you want to go with it.
I don't get to vote one day. Hopefully, I get that opportunity. Every one of those players need to be in the Bengal Ring of Honor. I'm going to repeat what I've said the last couple years. Shame on the Bengals for not having at least 3 to 4 a year to catch up, because they have a backlog of great players, and they should have done this years ago. I'm glad they do it. It's an amazing, it's good for the franchise. I hate to be really simple here. Every one of those guys are great players. There's 2 outstanding players. One of them, a legit Hall of Fame player. And the other one, if he played in Cincinnati his whole career, would be a Hall of Famer. I know Dave Lapham is a contributor. Dave Lapham was a good player, but he's known more as he's Mr. Bengal. He should be in already, special category. James Brooks and Lamar Parrish. I mean, nothing against those other guys. I love every one of them. Head and shoulders, the best players on that list. And I know I don't know if they're going to get in, but if they don't get in, I think that's a head scratcher because it is not even close. They are the best players on that list.
Well, I am going to show you who I voted for. Hang on, let me pull it up here. This is who I voted for. I don't know if you could see. I'm going to try to show it on my camera.
You could have sent the picture to your executive producer.
Let's see who we got here. That's
The
who
Icky
I voted
Woods.
for. That's who I voted for right there. James Brooks and Lamar Parrish. James Brooks and Lamar Parrish. Let me tell you guys. I voted for. I have last year. Last year, I voted for James Brooks last year. James Brooks to me, and again, if you guys did not watch the Bengals in the 80s and the early 90s like Mon and I did, you might feel differently because you just might not know about James Brooks. But let me tell you, James Brooks is one of the best Bengal players to ever wear stripes. Now, he only played for, I think, 8 years. It's still probably the best trade in Bengals history. I think you could argue that. Him coming over from San Diego. Now, obviously, we played him in '81 in the Super Bowl when he played for the Chargers. But when the Bengals traded for him, it was the beginning of that incredible run in the late '80s and early '90s. Let me just throw out some stats of James Brooks for you real quick. In 8 years, he played 106 games. He had 9,500 total yards. So almost 10,000 total yards by James Brooks. He's one of the all-time leading rushers in Bengals history. He had 64 total touchdowns. 64. Again, if you haven't seen James Brooks play, go YouTube it. Go watch how good this guy was out of the backfield catching the football. He was absolutely incredible. He averaged 5 yards a carry. I mean, this guy was elite. I think in '86 he had like almost 1,800 total yards. I mean, he was like, back then that was crazy to almost eclipse 2,000 total yards. James Brooks to me is an absolute shoo-in. If James Brooks does not make the Ring of Honor, it's malpractice. It truly is. And I don't want that to sound bad for the rest of the guys because I agree with Mon. Mon and I watched all these guys growing up, right? Jim Breach, Chris Collinsworth, Reggie Williams. All those guys are great Bengals, and all those guys need to go into the Ring of Honor. Dave Lapham probably should have already been in. Again, he was a great player, but he is Mr. Bengal. I mean, the three of us have met him. We've sat down. We've talked with him. He's a great dude. He is Mr. Bengal by far. But if we're going on statistical stats and what these guys did on the field, James Brooks is a layup. He is a layup. And Lamar Parrish, Lamar Parrish, he played before. I became a Bengals fan in '81, so I didn't watch Lamar Parrish play. Mon did. I did not. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you go back and look at what Lamar Parrish did and you look at his resume, you could easily say this guy is a Hall of Famer, not just a Bengal Ring of Honor guy, like a true NFL Hall of Famer. So Lamar Parrish, I mean, for him not to be in the Ring of Honor is absolutely insane when the guy has Hall of Fame numbers, like NFL Hall of Fame numbers. Mon.
Yeah, Lamar Parrish was a multi-year All-Pro. He had a lot of success with the Redskins. Again, we talked something earlier when the show started about contract issues. Well, Lamar Parrish had contract issues with the Bengals. And the Bengals like, hey, we'll just trade you. They traded him to the Redskins, and he became a multi-year All-Pro for him. The Bengals did get a lot of picks for him, so it wasn't like they gave him away. They got a mint for him. But Lamar Parrish definitely deserves it. One hell of a player. Ask Terry Bradshaw about that Bengals secondary back in the day. Ken Riley and him and Tommy Casanova at safety, they were fits for the Steelers. But unfortunately, the Steelers had more, just found a way to win that 1-2 extra game and win the conference. Back to James.
Can I say this real quick to Lamar?
Sure. Go ahead.
Real quick. Lamar Parrish has 47 interceptions, guys. 47 interceptions. I mean, that is top 3, I think. Top 3 or top 5 of what Hall of Fame guys have. I mean, he is up at the top when it comes to that.
He was Deion Sanders before Deion Sanders. Look at his kick return, punt return, interception return.
From 70 to 72, the guy had 17 interceptions in a 3-year span for the Bengals. He had 17 interceptions. And again, it wasn't like the ball was being thrown around like it is now in the 70s. Right? I mean, it's insane what this guy is not in the NFL Hall of Fame. I mean, his numbers are
he can't even get in the room to just get discussed. That's crazy. What I mean. He's not even a top 10 finalist for the senior committee or top 20.
It's crazy.
He can't. It's mind-boggling. The best trade in Bengal history is James Brooks. I mean, Bengal Jim had it the other day. B.J. Hill for Billy Price. That's a great trade. And Reggie Nelson. That was a great trade.
Yeah.
It can't even touch the James Brooks. We traded Pete Johnson. Pete Johnson had 6 carries for the Chargers. Okay. James Brooks had 6 unbelievable years with the Bengals. Listen to this. Look at those franchises. 81 AFC Championship game. James Brooks played for the Chargers. We acquired him in 83. Guess what happened? Chargers faded away. We continued to excel and made it to another Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His best year. So I think in 88, I think he had like 900 and something rushing yards. In 89, he had like 1,300 rushing yards. I mean, this guy, guys, he has had, like, if you count that 900 and some, I mean, he's had 4 or 5 years of 1,000 yards rushing for the Bengals, and people don't talk about him enough. It makes me nuts. This guy was elite. He was elite, not just for the Bengals, but in the NFL. He is what everybody wants in a running back now that they didn't have back then. They didn't have guys that had, that could run the football well and could catch the ball out of the backfield. Not to mention, he is probably the toughest Bengal pound for pound I have ever watched in 40 plus years of watching Bengals football. The dude, he ran like he was 250 pounds. And let me say this too. David Fulcher is one of my all-time favorite Bengals. He's probably in my top 10 of favorite Bengals of all time. So for me, this was tough because if I voted with my heart, it would be James Brooks and David Fulcher. But I just don't think you can overlook what Lamar Parrish did and what he's done for his career. And it's a travesty he is not in the NFL Hall of Fame.
So just to add on the Lamar Parrish thing, does not being in the Bengals Ring of Honor hurt his Hall of Fame chances?
I think it hurt. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. I think it hurts all the Bengals. I think it hurt Kenny Anderson. I think it still hurts Kenny Anderson. I think they should have done this years ago. I'm glad they've done it now. It's a great ceremony. It's wonderful. I'm glad. It's a good, positive thing. But I think, it's hurt him and other Bengals.
We talked about this. Mom, remember we talked about you and I talked about this thing 14, 15 years ago. Like why we had long discussions about the Bengals not having a Ring of Honor and how horrible that was. I mean, of all the things that the Bengals did wrong in that stretch of time, not having a Ring of Honor, it was probably at the top of the list, to be honest with you. Not recognizing your best players of all time is terrible, terrible business. And guys, we talked about this when they started the Ring of Honor. The Bengals did this wrong. and they did. I don't want to be Mr. Negative, but for them to not do the first couple years of putting 4 guys in is ridiculous. There's a huge backlog of players that should already be in the Ring of Honor that are not in the Ring of Honor. And all of them on this list, I would include. So, I wish the Bengals would have done it differently, because we shouldn't even be talking about this group. This group should already be in the Ring of Honor. We should be talking about the next generation of players, right?
It's a shame that Bob Trumpy's getting in his 80s. I want him to be able to enjoy it. I want him to be able. Bob Trumpy is a great player. Every one of these guys are deserving.
Yes,
but I'm just basing it strictly on who's the best players on that list, and those 2 are. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we said, that the Bengals didn't. They could have done this a lot better. Maybe there's no wrong way because they're doing it, but they could have done this a lot better. Those first 2 years, we should have put 4 players in, but we should have had Bengals choose 2 or Bengals choose 1, and then the fans vote on the rest. Right now, we're staring at Dave Lapham, for what he does outside the organization and becoming one of the voices of the Bengals and the biggest Bengals fan out there that we all, associate with. He should be a special contributor. He shouldn't even be on this list. The Bengals should just put him in for what he is meant as the voice of the Bengals. Because, one, now you're making us vote between somebody who's synonymous with the Bengals, but maybe not as one of the, not one of the greatest players ever to play for the Bengals, but he is synonymous with the Bengals. So you're making us choose between an all-time great player and somebody that is one of the faces of the Bengals. You should just put him in and let us go vote. Put 3 in this year. If there's somebody like that, just, make him in there. Put him as a special contributor.
If you're basing it strictly on football production, Max Montoya would be number 3 for me. Max Montoya was a stud. And when he left to go to the Raiders, again, contract issue, he thought the Bengals get hometown discount. He went to the Raiders, became an all-pro, and,
well, we fell off
great player. That started the lost decade. People
look at Max Montoya. There's probably Bengal fans that look at him right now that don't know who he is. And they're probably like, who is Max Montoya? Let me tell you, Max Montoya at his time was one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. The Bengals did not pay him what they should have paid him. He went to the Raiders, and the Bengals fell off a cliff. Cliff.
Max Montoya still lives in Cincinnati, has family here. He had multiple businesses in Cincinnati, and the Bengals didn't think he would do it. They didn't think he would leave and go to Los Angeles. So guess what? Al Davis gave him a lot of money because he was one of the best guards in football. He couldn't say no. But you know what? It shows you how much he loves this city and the state. He lives in Cincinnati, and he considers himself a Bengal. I got to meet him at Chris Collinsworth's golf tournament here in town. He's such a nice man. Yeah, and unfortunately, it started a bad trend for us. But, any one of those guys, everyone.
You went to a Chris Collinsworth golf tournament, and I didn't know about it. Was this pre the Stockton situation?
Guys, listen. Chris Collinsworth went to high school in our city, in my city, Titusville. He went to Astronaut High School. When he signed his contract with the Bengals, he started a fundraiser golf tournament for the 2 high schools in our city. Every year at the country club, which is down the street from my house, he had a giant golf tournament with a meet and greet and steak dinner for the stars there. I mean, there's 3-4 years in a row. I mean, who's who of NFL stars were in this town. I have autographs galore. I met Max Montoya. I met so many players. They were so nice. There was one player that was an absolute jerk. He played for another team. He was the only guy that showed up at the country club in a town car, limousine. Everybody else, was just there for the thing, but we'll talk about that on another show. But it was great to meet all those guys, and Max Montoya was very, very gracious.
Crazy. And not only is he still in Cincinnati, I think his daughter, Allison, is one of the reporters for local sports reporters. So good roots there. So we didn't want this to be too long of a show because everybody wants to get out there and watch the Timberwolves take down the Thunder tonight. That's the most important thing out there.
I would say everybody.
You're gonna, you know what? Get Ryder watching it, and all of a sudden you're gonna be in it in it to win it. You're going to jump
Listen,
on
the
board.
Reds are going for 6 in a row tonight. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about 6 in a row.
You know, we haven't even talked about the fact that we need to get you guys. We're supposed to be out there on Friday, but I think we're not going to be able to record. So let's not get into that. Just keep taking notes until that first episode.
Are we gonna
Final
go?
question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mom.
Are
No, go
we
ahead,
gonna
Mom.
go to? Are we gonna go to the Jags game, Week 1 meet and greet in Cincinnati? Everybody.
Perhaps I am. If I got to drag you guys there through every Buc-ee's, then I'll do it. So be it. I'll get the brisket sandwiches to make it happen.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
So,
Okay.
final thoughts on the Ring of Honor. I'm gonna have to deep research how many years post retirement before they let people get into this list. But we're staring down a list that has 9 guys on it that should have been a long time ago. Every one of these players should be in the Ring of Honor. So voting on it is really frustrating because they should be in the ring. Geno Atkins, 5 years since he retired. I think technically he should be on this list. So Geno Atkins comes up, should be next year, and then AJ Green is going to come up eligible in 2 years, in 2027. Can you see those guys walking in on their first year and pushing up these other guys down on the list? Mom, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think AJ Green, Geno Atkins, the last 20 years, a lot of younger fans are familiar with them. They don't know who Bob Trumpy is. They don't know who Lamar Parrish is. They don't know. And I'm not blaming anybody for that. I'm not. And, arguably when it comes to football talents, AJ Green and Geno Atkins, to me, deserve first ballot Ring of Honor. I mean, they were that special. Geno Atkins should be in the Hall of Fame. And I think being in the Ring of Honor will help him, and it'll also help AJ Green. I think they'll get in first ballot. Somebody mentioned contact the Bengals and ask them to add more. Hey, it wouldn't hurt. Do it gracefully. Do it with respect. Maybe they could do 3 a year, 4 a year. Because, Bob Trumpy deserves it. He's in his 80s. Lamar Parrish is in his 70s, maybe 80 also. These guys deserve it. Dave Lapham deserves it. And hopefully they alter it and get caught up.
Yeah, and actually on that note, I was going to put something out there, maybe a petition just for the Bengals to take Lapham off this list and put him in. Something like that, up it to 3 a year. I know you want it to be even, but it's just frustrating. These guys are going to get in. If we go 5 years with nobody entering the Ring of Honor, that's what a Ring of Honor is supposed to be. Jake, do you have any guys that jump into mind that are going to be the next players to walk into the Ring of Honor when they retire?
I mean, obviously, real quick on the Geno Atkins and AJ Green. I mean, guys, they're first time ballot. I mean, and like Mon said, that's what sucks about this whole thing is those guys on that list that we just put up there, they should already be in. Like we shouldn't even be talking about this right now. We should be talking about the Geno Atkins and the AJ Greens of the world because those guys were just incredible. And Mon said it. Listen, Geno Atkins is going to be in the Hall of Fame. I truly believe that. I think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. AJ Green, let me tell you right now, if AJ Green didn't go through that span of the injury stuff, AJ Green would be fighting for a Hall of Fame position. He was that good. So I think those two guys are absolute shoo-ins. First-time Hall of Fame ballot guys. After that, I don't know. I think the backlog is so good that you've got to make sure that those guys get in because those guys are getting older. Like Mon said, Bob Trumpy, he needs to witness that. Dave Lapham, again, he should already be in. So there's still a backlog of guys, but absolutely 100%. And I'll tell you another one. I think Andrew Whitworth. I think eventually down the road, Andrew Whitworth is a guy that could easily be a first-time ballot guy that goes right into the Ring of Honor.
Leon Hall. Leon Hall's not talked about enough. Leon Hall had a great Bengal career.
I agree.
Top tier NFL player. He deserves it.
This might be controversial, but every year we get a little bit farther away from it. Marvin Lewis.
Yes, absolutely.
Marvin Lewis is the reason he single-handedly changed how the Bengals do things. We may not be exactly where we want to be, but if it wasn't for Marvin Lewis,
what
we
he
wouldn't be
did
here.
for this franchise will never be appreciated enough. I mean, you're right. You just said it. He took us out of the lost decade. The Bengals were 2-14. We had a 10-year span. They had the worst record of any professional sports team, not NFL team. That's how bad the Bengals decade was, that 10-year span. And he came in, he modernized it. He convinced the Bengal Brown family. Remember, they spent a lot of money in free agency. John Thornton, Kevin Hardy, uh, uh, um, was it Torrey James? Those are top tier free agents that the Bengals went out and signed with Marvin Lewis. He he modernized us, and he was a great coach. I know things didn't work out in the playoffs, but he deserves it.
Yeah, so maybe that's the petition right there. The Bengals should be putting Marvin Lewis and Dave Lapham in, and let us vote on the rest of the guys. That's really where it should go.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes. That's gonna do it for us tonight. Jake, why don't you get us out of here? I don't know that we'll be back this week unless news breaks. There are a lot of crazy stuff going on with graduation down here in Florida. I know Jake's got some commitments there. Mon's going to be out there fighting fires, and I'll be back cheering my Wolves on and hitting the links. So news breaks, we'll find a way to get here. Otherwise, we'll be back next week. I think next week we might try and get some guests on, but I think we're going to do a dive into way too early 53-man roster predictions too. So looking forward to that.
All right,
Sounds
guys. All right, that does sound good. We'll listen. Hey, if anything breaks, guys, if anything breaks, we're not going to mention his name, but Trey Hendrickson, we will make sure we are here live to break that for you. As always, guys, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the awesome podcast platforms: Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. As always, guys, if you like this podcast, make sure you give us that 5-star review. We'd very much appreciate that. As always, guys, follow Mon on Twitter at @TheFireMon. Follow me on Twitter at Coach Jake Owens9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow the Wednesday Night Podcast Network on Twitter at Wednesday Night Pod. And as always, guys, follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at our new location at the Bengals Pulse. And check us out on Instagram as well. We are still working through that, but
Same thing now at the Bengals Pulse.
perfect. Follow us on Instagram at the Bengals Pulse. We would very much appreciate that. Guys, once again, thank you so much for joining us. We love you. We appreciate you. You guys are absolutely the best. We'll be back next week. Like Mon said, Eric said, talk a little roster, where we're at in the roster, and a bunch of other Bengals news. Hopefully some Trey Hendrickson good news as well. He is Mon. He is Eric. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Hoo day, Bengal fans. We'll see you soon.
Wolves in 5. Just remember it.